Dude, that new intro song gets me so jazzed.
I was just thinking about intro songs. We got to do the instrumental to Not Like Us. Kendrick Lamar. Like, that's got to be our new intro song.
Yeah, because that's how hard we go on the Monday market update.
They're not like us.
All of our haters, all of our Monday market update competitors on other days, they're not like us, man.
Yep.
They're not like us. Well, spoiler alert, I am joined here today by Matt, the mortgage guy, Gougé. Welcome, Matt. Did you get your coffee
I did.
during the countdown?
I did. I got my coffee. Matt, the mortgage guy, Yeti, in fact. So I'm ready to roll. I got my bulletproof, whatever it is, butter MCT oil in there. Like, Monday is gonna it's gonna hit.
It's not like us. It's not ready for us. So, and I'm Sean Grapevine here, Vice President of Product Strategy at UMortgage, and this is the Monday Market Update, the second one of the of Q3 here of the second half of the year, and I think there's going to be some big shakeups in a lot of the things that we're typically reporting on. Over the course of the year, it's been very steady since, say, February or March, but things are set to shake up before we get to the market and the numbers and stuff like that. Mr. Gougé, how did you spend your fourth? Did you have a good time?
Fourth, I spent with family in the neighborhood. A buddy of mine. Kind of funny, quick story. The house that I rented in college 20 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
He bought it 3 or 4 months ago in the neighborhood I live in. And so he threw a party there. So it was like nostalgic being back at that house. And then their whole court kind of came out, contributed, may or may not have had some fireworks that were not legal in California. But I'm so afraid of prosecution that I posted on Instagram some of these things. I wasn't the one lighting them.
There you go. You're just a narc.
I was there. So fun little neighborhood 4th of July. It was good, man. It was pretty chill. It was interesting because it was on a Thursday. So I came back to work on Friday. Half the day it felt like a Monday. I was scheduling follow-ups for Tuesday, realizing it was Friday and not Monday. It was interesting. But how about you? How was your 4th, my man?
My 4th was great. So there's a big road race, like a running road race here in Atlanta every July 4th. I think it's like the biggest in the world or something. The Peachtree Road Race that my dad did for 37 consecutive years. Like, July 4th was like his day, and he passed away 3 years ago. So since then, I've been running that race every July 4th just to see if I can get to 37. As well, and just kind of do it in his honor. But I really wanted to set a personal best 10K time. It's a very hilly course. It was so hot. It was so humid. There's a billion people out there that you have to dodge. And I was off my personal best pace by like 41 seconds or something like that. So I just missed it by 41 seconds, unfortunately. However, I took the sense of disappointment, anger, vengeance with me this morning and went to my favorite trail along the Chattahoochee River and crushed my PR by 3 minutes this morning. No,
Wow. You
no
are
crowd, no race director, no hydration, no snacks, no music.
just you out in the wild, just running.
Just run it as fast as I could. I can't really feel my right calf right
Oh,
now.
you'll heal, man. You're still young. That's
Yeah,
cool, man. Running the race and Pops' honor. I love just getting out and running.
I do too.
It's good
I
for you.
really, I
It's
do
good for
too.
you for
It
sure.
is. It's kind of miserable this time of year, but most of the time it's fine. So
How hot is it in Atlanta? It's only like 114 in Sacramento.
yeah, but it's different. It's like 93, 94, but it's typically 93, 94% humidity all day, every day. It
Oh yeah, my
really
mom
makes
lived in Atlanta. I would never live there. If you gave me $1 million mansion for free and said move out, I and not because Atlanta's not a beautiful place, Sean. I'm not knocking you.
it's fine.
Um,
You're not invited. We got too many people. We're trying to kick people out.
I'm a sweater. I sweat, dude.
Oh,
So
bro.
if I was in Atlanta, I'd have to shower 6 times a day. It wouldn't work for me.
I think, yeah, I'm with you. It's awful. Anyway, let's get to the Monday market update. This has been the Monday Buddies update so far. It's time to get to the Monday market update. Some big numbers came in last week, and we'll go over those now. The biggest one that came in was the unemployment rate is now gone up to 4.1%. The jobs numbers were a lot lower than they had been you remember last month, like 272,000 jobs created, some insane number. Obviously not really reflected by people's experience of the job market. But the numbers, I don't. Those were the numbers. whatever the polling and sampling method is, those are the numbers. Numbers a lot lower this month at 200,000, right around where experts expected it. Unemployment rate inched up to 4.1%. And that's some of the leading indicators that the Fed is looking at when trying to make decisions about what they're going to do with rates. The markets responded favorably last week on Friday. Whenever these numbers come out on a Friday between the 4th of July and like whenever it's between a holiday and the weekend and it's a Friday, it's like very, very limited trading on Wall Street. The lazy bums. So we should see more of that shakeout as the market kind of ingests that today. It was pretty good news, though. The 10 years still in the 4.2s, and we've seen interest rates inch down into like the high 8s, low 7s. What's your feeling, like ear to the ground? What's your feeling on rates? Do they feel like
Yeah, I think today we got a
manageable
little
now?
bit of a betterment, but it seems to be like 7% is just kind of like the sticky line that we keep bouncing around. And so for a lot of people, it's a better environment. Like you'd rather have just stability
Sure.
around 7 than like up to 7.5, down to 6.75, which those swings don't happen overnight, but without even
Every once in a
looking at
while. Every once in a while they do.
yeah, and without looking at a chart, like it feels like in the most recent times, rates have just been kind of flat, which is better. People get pre-approved, they're looking, they take a break, they're back in 6 weeks, they find a house they like. Like home buying doesn't happen in the course of 1 or 2 weeks. And so when you look 6 months or 3 months out, like if things change a lot, it's harder to go out there and home shop, in my opinion. So cheers to flat rates.
Yeah, I agree. I think people are creatures of being used to things rather than like, rather than like whatever some sort of nominal rate that they wish they had is. But obviously lower, better, flat, just as good in most cases. We do have CPI and PPI coming up this week. CPI is the core is the headline inflation metric that the Fed uses when addressing inflation, which is the kind of key reason they exist, is to manage the money supply and the cost of money so that prices don't rise or fall too quickly, and sort of as a result of that, the economy doesn't overheat or underheat too much. So CPI is coming out on Thursday. PPI, the producer's price index, so how much it costs a producer to produce something, as opposed to a consumer to buy something, that comes out on Friday. So we've had good PCE numbers. That's another measure of inflation that came out 2 weeks ago. We've had good jobs numbers. Good meaning bad. Have you ever listened to this? Did you ever listen to the band Modest Mouse?
No, I never heard of Modest Mouse.
Yeah, they're maybe a bit after your time.
Oh, you call me old?
No, they were just like very, very weird. They had an album called Good News for People Who Like Bad News. And so I always think of that whenever I think of like the employment numbers, is like, we want unemployment to go up because that's a sign that inflation is cooling down because the cost of money is getting more expensive. So it truly is good news for people who like bad news, because it means people are losing their jobs and people are
people like,
celebrating
I
it.
want better mortgage rates at any cost. If the
Yeah,
economy has
you're
to collapse and everyone has got to lose their job for that to happen, so be it. Give me 4%.
Yeah. I mean, the reason we got such good mortgage rates during COVID was because like it was, this pandemic was sweeping the world. People were not able to leave their houses, people losing jobs, it was great. And people were like, yay, I love
Yay,
this.
2.5%.
Yeah.
Woohoo.
So anyway, that being said, CPI comes out Thursday, PPI on Friday. Not much changed in terms of what traders are predicting. We use this tool called the CME Fed Watch tool. Really cool. You can Google it. Doesn't cost any money. Literally, I just Google CME Fed Watch tool every Monday morning and pull this up. It's the first result. And this shows the chances, the probability that traders think there will be an easing, no change, or hike in these various Fed meetings all the way out to like a year plus from now. July 31st is our next meeting. So that means there's going to be a What the Fed version of this in the first Monday of August. Man, how these months do fly by. So this shows traders think there's a 6.7% chance of there being a rate reduction. It's not going to happen. These people are correct, the 93.3%. And I usually side with the little guy, but I'm almost never as optimistic as the people on the left side of this chart. And then you see a pretty high conviction that there will be a reduction, and this is going up. It's up. 60% of people 1 week ago thought that there would be a reduction in September. Now 70.8% of people. Now, these people, everybody on this chart is famously wrong. Since I've started reviewing it, it's famously optimistic. But I could see this being the case. So,
yeah, I mean, we have August off, right? So it's, we've got a lot of time between now and that.
There's a lot of time. That's true.
Mid-September meeting.
So a lot of time for new data to come in, but also the Fed really likes to telegraph what's going to happen. They don't like these big swings where they come out and it's a surprise. They don't do surprises anymore. We always know going into the meeting what the result is going to be. Although this one might be one of the few times where there's like, will they, won't
50-50 shot?
Yeah, dude, that would be crazy. Definitely going to be a volatile day in the stock market and the rate market. But they'll really try and telegraph it as much as possible without like giving the whole thing away. When you do see them initially telegraph the easing, there's going to be this is my guess, and we've talked about this before, there's going to be a pretty significant jink downwards in the 10-year. I bet the first time Powell, who testifies in front of Congress, or presents testimony, I guess that's testifying. I think either today, let's see, or tomorrow, to the Senate, when he does let on that he thinks that there's going to be an upcoming reduction in the upcoming meeting, I think we see the 10-year dip below 3%. I mean, not below 3%, below 4%, into the threes.
What is it, like 4.2 right now?
4.29, yeah.
Okay, yeah, I could see that.
Yeah, so if you purchase a home at 7.25, 7.5, 7.75%, if you use Matt the mortgage guy Gougé, and you got yourself a 1-1 about a year, or a 1-0 buy down about a year ago, and your rate's set to adjust, like it might actually be time to look into that, the first of hopefully a long slope down in your mortgage rates through refinance.
That's today's hot tip. Get with a mortgage broker, somebody you like and trust, that's just going to give you the break-even analysis. Here's what you're going to save. Here's what it's going to cost. Here's how many months it's going to take to recoup that. Green light, yellow light, red light. Keep it simple.
Exactly. Just pick a rate and then wait and get weekly or monthly or whatever updates from that loan officer. The rates are really good at UMortgage right now, and Matt Gougé is one of our best loan officers. So, pro tip: use him. But if he's not licensed in your state, find somebody else at UMortgage or convince him to get licensed in your state. You'll see that there is we're just gonna fly through these next two. 50% chance, well, total 75% chance of an easing from where we're at right now during the November meeting. 50% of people think that it's just still going to be just the one reduction. 22% of people think there's going to be two reductions. And then 1.7% of people think there will have been three. So either a double reduction one of the months, which is a legal move, or that the July 1, the September 1, and the November 1 all get the 25 BIP reductions, or 25 basis point, 0.25% reduction. Yeah, pretty wild.
I think quick shout out to my buddy Mike Zuber. He thinks that they're gonna wait longer than they need to, and then hit him with a 50 basis points all at once.
Do a double bubble.
Yeah, so he's like, maybe wait no September like a lot of people expect. Make sure that we really are feeling good about inflation, and then November, December, hit them with 50.
That would be crazy.
Could be.
That would be crazy. I love that. I love that. I think that's a good shout. I love that call. I don't necessarily think that's going to happen, but I love chaos, so I hope they do it.
Yeah, it'll be fun.
And finally, looking into December, you do have some forfers here, so maybe that's two doubles. Two
doubles. That's not going to happen. And I'm as crazy as they come, and I'm not that crazy.
Well, look at this. Nobody thinks there will not be. Nobody thinks there will be no change. I mean, 3.4% of people do. That to me is like, oh, we're like feeling pretty confident about this, are we, boys and girls? Like, I think this whole, everybody's over optimistic about this thing. I think we'll end the year. I think probably right here with two, but I think it's just as likely that there's just one. So
you were the one camp last week, bro. You're joining me in the two camp.
I know. I see these numbers and I'm like, we
got you. We got Grapevine.
Do they not? Do they know that? I don't. No, I'm sticking with one. I'm hoping for one. Higher, longer, baby.
Oh, I think I just hit my finger against my desk and sprained my finger.
See,
this desk life, man, this is dangerous. People don't know.
You should have stayed a poker dealer. That would never happen. The tables are padded is the reason I say that. So that, my friends, is the numbers. Maddie, tell us about what you've been reading in the news, and tell us about why we should or shouldn't trust the news.
All right. If you're ready for a little bit of passionate MTMG, here it comes. The news can be so off base. I was going to use a harsher word, but I'm just going to say off base.
Thank you.
They have no idea what's going on about a subject, and they talk about it anyway. And when they do talk about it, they're so desperate for clicks that they create, more drama than is truly there. So I'm going to read you a couple headlines, Sean. CNN. Thousands of homeowners are about to get slammed. And this is talking about adjustable rate mortgages. The Hill, whoever they are, possible mortgage crisis looms for millions.
Oh my God.
They're all using the same thing. About 1.7 million homes were bought in 2019 using adjustable rate mortgages.
How many?
1.7 million.
I think in 2019.
I'm almost sure that is a bad stat. Here's a couple things I will say.
In 2019, I mean, I could see that being the 1 year where ARMs were kind of like in the money. It was like pre-2020. Obviously, once 2020 hit, nobody was doing it. Nobody's done them
since. Here's the thing. If you went into an ARM at 4.25 in 2019, what do you think you did in 20 and 21?
Yeah,
you refinanced, you big dummy.
Yeah.
So maybe 70% of these refinanced into a fixed 30-year 2.75%, 2.625%. Whatever the case, like, to think that there's a lot of ARMs that are going to come due and adjust is just wrong. Like, there's no way that I talk to as many people as I talk to other loan originators. Like I personally wrote 400 million in mortgages roughly in the last 5 years. I wrote one arm. And I've got enough, friends in the business where like I probably know people, collectively that wrote like hundreds of billions. And like UWM's a good example too. They're the largest wholesale lender in the country. So they have data on the last, I don't know, trillion. They've probably wrote a trillion since 2019.
No way.
Their,
You think so?
their big years, Sean, were 245 billion. And they like 20 and 21, they wrote half a trillion. They wrote 500 billion.
That's so crazy.
So with the other
I helped.
Yeah, me too.
I snuck in about 30 mil.
A couple hundred milli. So and this stuff's not true. This is doom porn, and it drives me crazy because here's what it does. Here's what you should listen to as a consumer. When you read a post like this, 1.7 million ARMs were written. These are going to come due in 24. People are going to foreclose. Housing crash. Prices are going to come down. Then you sit and you wait and you hope that prices come down. The reality is there's a housing shortage. It's here. It's not going away. There's
it's like say those people did like default. I mean, their houses are worth double what they paid for them. It's not going to be one of those situations where like, oh, a huge short sale. It's like they bought this house for $300,000. It's worth $600,000. They're not going to default. They're just going to move.
Yeah, they're going to sell it, move, go into a higher payment, but still, have 250 grand in equity. But the thing that really upsets me the most of all of it, Sean, is articles like this make people stand still. They give people fear, uncertainty, and doubt. And then they wait for 3 years and they look back and they go, oh, shoot, that was just an article written to get clicks. Here I am 3 years later. Home prices are the same or higher. I'm in a worse position than I was had I listened to good information that's like, hey, I'm not telling you to go out there and buy anything. Get yourself pre-approved. Find out what is a comfortable payment for you. But over time, real estate's going to appreciate. There's no data. There's no smart people that are putting together data that shows there's going to be any significant housing crash. And I would love for it to happen, Sean. I'd love to buy houses at a discount. I'd love for my clients to be able to get houses cheaper. It's just not going to happen. Like supply and demand is pretty simple, even for a dummy like me.
Yeah. And we went over the inventory situation, last week, and we looked at like, oh, inventory is going up. When you look at like just the 1 year view, you're like, oh my God, it's gone up 40%. Then you zoom out to like the 5 or 10 year view, and it's like all 10 years, and then it's gone up like 1 inch. So yeah, I even if all these houses somehow came on the market, and like it's not like when you have, I think what people miss about like housing crises is that they happen when there is people who cannot make payments and when there's no equity available in those houses. And it's like, oh, you can't afford this house anymore, but you have, $250,000 in equity, then all right, you could just sell it. You could start renting or, buy a cheaper house or whatever. So, I love this question that you just answered in the comments. I'll read it out for you, and we can talk about it for a second too. Dave says, when do mortgage lenders update their rates? At the beginning or end of the business day, or during the business day, or does it fluctuate during the day as interest rates do? Great question.
Phenomenal question. Yeah. And I answered it in the comments. Most lenders, they come out with their rates in the morning. And so
about 10 a.m. Eastern, typically 11.
Right. Yeah. And back in the olden days, it was rate sheets. Now it's all, digital, where I could log in. I could check multiple lenders at the same time. But to your point, Dave, rates change, and they can change multiple times per day. Some days there's no change. Other days there's a midday reprice, they call it. It could be for the better. It could be for the worse. But in volatile markets where there's news happening that affects mortgage rates all the time, there could be a change where we as lenders will get alerts. Reprice alert, rates got worse by 40 basis points because of, the economic news we got. Or, on some days where there's a bunch of news that's helpful for mortgage bonds, rates betterment 25 basis points. And then
I like in your example that it didn't get as better as it got worse, which also reflects reality. So I was like, when it gets worse, they're like, it's way worse. When it gets better, they're like, we gave you a
Maybe a little
couple.
bit better. I just did that, Sean. Like it's been planted. Like
It's 100% true. It's
take
accurate.
40, better, give you 25. Like, gosh, man, I'm glad you caught that too. That proves that you've been in the trenches.
Do you remember in 2020 and 2021 where you would get like, I mean, I had to like create a whole separate folder in my inbox because usually you just get like one notification per day, like, hey, we put out rates. But like, man, 2020, 2021, there were some days where we got, I must have gotten 5 to 7 reprices from just one lender. It was crazy.
Yeah, it was. And with the amount of volume a lot of lenders were doing, it was wild. Crazy story of mine. I had over 30 refinances floating. And one of the reasons I hate to float nowadays is the market got worse by over 100 basis points. So for most people, it's about a quarter in rate, where I could have got them 2.625. It went up to 2.875. Good news is I ate it.
No way.
Took a very discounted comp on 30 plus deals. But saved my reputation because I told people, listen, this was on me. I should have locked you in. I didn't. Therefore, you get the 2.625. I'm going to eat it. All I ask in return is that you refer me all your family and friends. So if you're out there and I took a big like commission cut just to keep my word and give you the rate I promised, send me your family and your friends. Keep them coming. GreatMortgageBroker.com.
Oh man, I love that. Yeah, my formative days were filled with similar, mistakes, and then sort of backpedaling and trying to do whatever I could to make sure that my decisions didn't affect my clients negatively. I been there a million times, and again, it never really like corrects the opposite direction. You're not like, oh, I'll make it up later. That would require charging the next person double.
I'm forever sticking to, if you like it, lock it. Like there's no good reason to gamble. We're going to look at the rate sheet. We're going to figure out what you like, and we're going to lock it.
I have the Grapevine corollary to that, which is if you don't like it, lock it. That's like,
yeah. Just lock it.
Just lock it. Yes. Well, with that, we're going to lock in the rest of our day. And this week, we're going to get locked in and we are going to crush it. You, Matt, me, and every one of our watchers and listeners out there. We really appreciate you taking the time out of your day. Great question from David Dallas today. Would love more questions like that in the future. We love shooting the breeze. We love peeling back the curtain and like showing you guys how the mortgage sausage is made. Matt, I hope you have a great day dispelling rumors, myths, untruths, fake news, false claims, and fighting the good fight.
I shall. Have a great week, buddy.
See you guys. Thanks, everyone.